Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. In 2007, my wife and I got married, and it was one of the privileges to our nuptials. I was able to fund her startup of a hair salon. With a couple of friends, we owned that hair salon for about 10 years, and I was in and out of that salon over the course of those 10 years and learned more, honestly, than I wanted to about that industry and that business. And what I would tell you is I wholly and fully support this piece of legislation, because what I learned through that process, what I also learned in the process of last fall, my wife renewing her license and going through the continuing education process, is that the licensing process needs complete overhaul. There's other words I would like to put around that, but I'm not going to do that from this well today. I'm just going to tell you that it does not service the consumers the way that the previous speaker stated. What it services and who it services is the owners of both the continuing education facilities and the large hair institutions who have aspiring cosmetologists in their midst for about a year that they're able to charge anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000. These are largely people without college degrees. These are largely people who don't have the resources to pay for this. And the large pushback that you're seeing on this type of reform is with those people who have a vested interest, not only in obtaining that original $15,000 to $20,000, but obtaining the money from them that they get through the continuing education process, which I will say, the word that I wanted to put on it is a joke. The continuing education process in this industry is a complete and utter joke. You go online, you pay to watch a video, maybe you don't watch the video, you maybe answer a couple questions online, maybe you don't. You check the box for your continuing education, and you paid a couple $100s to get that done, and you have learned essentially nothing. The previous speaker spoke about cultural differences. I'm on the committee in which this bill came, and I found it very interesting that the person who spoke against it is from the regulating industry, and the two people that spoke in favor of this bill were two African-American women. I don't know if they knew each other or not. They did not work at the same place, but they spoke in favor of this bill because they recognized that shampooing and blow drying hair is not something that requires a license. It certainly does not require either an 1,100 or 1,500 hour license. The other thing that happens in this process, and the previous speaker may not know this, but if you walk into a hair salon today, your hair can be washed by someone who is unlicensed because they're serving out their apprenticeship in the process of getting their license. They're working perhaps under the auspices of a business and somebody who is licensed. But today we have people washing hair, blow drying hair, using flat irons in salons in the state of Georgia who are not licensed, and no one is dying. We heard loss of limbs in committee, and really just kind of some crazy doom and gloom things. I asked the question of the person who testified, can't you teach me sanitation in about 2 days? He said, well, yeah, I could, but I got to do this, and this. The sanitation thing is way overblown. And the majority whip mentioned the concept of restaurants, and previous speaker talked about things being hot. Hair, flat irons are hot. You know what else is hot? Is a fryer in a McDonald's. And we allow 16, 17-year-olds to walk in and earn a living without having to license them. And so I would encourage you to vote for this bill. I have some tangential knowledge. I would encourage the author, don't stop here. Keep going. This entire licensing scheme needs to be dismantled from top to bottom. We need to allow people to get to work in the state, and we need to allow them to get to work in the state doing these jobs that don't cost them what's going to equate to a third or half of their first year's salary. With that, Mr. President, I yield the well. Thank you.
Senators yielded. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against this measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Senator from the 20th, I'll let you close debate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I appreciate the debate on this and the concern from my friend from the 39th. I know she's sincere in her concerns. So what I think is going on here, because a lot of the people that she talked to that raised concerns about this are in the industry. They put in their time. They want the next person to have to put in their time, or they're benefiting from interns that are having to fulfill the 1,500-hour work requirement, and they're paying them little or nothing, and they're getting free labor off of these people, or they're, part of a school that gets the $17,000 on average to train these people. I mean, there's an entrenched profit-making ecosystem surrounding cosmetology. I don't know that I would find anybody in here that thinks 1,500 hours of training is reasonable. But they're getting free labor for 1,500 hours. These schools are charging out people to come in and get a haircut from somebody that's not licensed. You can go to one of these schools and get your haircut from somebody that's not licensed. I'm not hearing of any deaths or major problems from that. It's an entrenched bureaucracy, and I'm trying to take up for the little man, to be honest with you. And I thought we'd have unanimous support for this. This is for working class Georgians. This is not, a huge shift in public policy. This is just nibbling at the freaking edges, really, y'all. 5 states have fully exempted blow-dry styling from licensure. 13 states fully exempt makeup artists from licensure, including Florida and Mississippi, southern states. And there is no evidence that these services are any less safe in states that exempt them. You aren't seeing this on the news at night. Somebody lost their ear, or and by the way, I don't use a flat iron, but I think you can buy a flat iron and use it at home. I think your neighbor could come over if you're friends, and you could flat iron their hair. You could, blow dry their hair. Y'all could style each other's hair. You can, all this stuff you can do yourself. To the appropriations chairman's point, trying to muddy the water with the hair weaving, which I know nothing about, honestly. But I mean, hair weaving is already allowed. It says, line 53, this term, cosmetology, shall not mean an individual who only braids the hair by hair weaving, interlocking, twisting, plaiting, wrapping by hand, chemicals or mechanical devices, or using any natural or synthetic fiber for extensions, which was also brought up. You don't have to have a license to do that already. So let's don't make this more than it is. Having a license does not make these salons. I mean, we heard testimony from the chairman of the licensing board, all these horror stories, loss of an eye, loss of a toe. It was horrible. I don't ever want to go to a barbershop anymore. I'm scared to death. All this under our current license system that's supposed to be keeping us safe. Well, clearly it's not working. I think if I go into a barber shop, a Sports Clip, a Great Clips, my local barber, up to Mr. Tommy's up the road, up north side, on north side, and it's nasty in there, I'm not going to let them do anything to my hair. I'm going to go somewhere else. If I go somewhere and they burn my scalp, I'm not going back. Let's talk about some personal accountability, some common sense. My God, I would appreciate a yes vote, but if you want to vote no against the little man and the working Georgians, feel free. Thank you very much.
I hope, Senator from the 20th, I hope your preacher wasn't watching today, dropping that kind of language. And I noticed the senators from the 14th and 21st were pretty quiet during that debate. So, all All right, the previous question has been ordered. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea, opposed nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. Senator from the 9th, state your inquiry.
Mr. President, isn't it true that the members in this body that are for this bill have referenced black women many times, yet still refuse to pass the Crown Act that is for black women?
Senator is passionate about what she speaks. Senator from the 43rd. Senator from the 43rd.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that the Crown Act is in committee awaiting the senator to release it?
The senator knows of what she speaks. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 38, the nays are 15. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed.